Let's play some Fire Emblem 7. Because why not? We did Fire Emblem 8, so kind of going backwards, but that's okay. Just check one thing before we start. Perfect. Alright, awesome. We're gonna do Hector hard mode, obviously. And yeah, hopefully it'll go well. Of course I would like to create a new tactician. Oh, my name is not Mark Pa. Pano. Nothing too specific for this run. I you know, just felt like playing some Fire Emblem 7, why not? Why not, right? I think my general goal might just be to keep as many people alive as possible. It'd be cool to do a run where we like keep everyone alive or something, but doesn't seem super feasible. Wait, why is the assassin a soldier? I never noticed that. That's weird. Shouldn't have been like a thief or something. Okay. Let's adjust some stuff. So this first chapter is really annoying. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm trying to remember how I usually do this. So I can break through the wall. I usually don't go south because he's gonna break through that. So I think what I want to do is break through right now. The thing about this first chapter is that it can be really annoying because you're fairly reliant on Hector actually connecting, specifically with hand axe hits. And if you've ever tried to use Hector and hand axes, it's not the most consistent thing in the world. Specifically on the archers. He'll do fine against, obviously, anyone with a lance, but once you start to try to fight archers, it can become kind of a pain. But we're going to have Matthew do this. The biggest thing about this chapter, because you can just play it really slow, but the biggest thing about this chapter is getting this really lucky RNG right away. That chest, because there's a red gem in there that we're going to really want. And also killing this guy. See, if this misses, this can be kind of a pain. Okay, we're good. I guess if one of these misses, it's also bad, but what are the chances of that, right? Actually, that miss on Matthew is really important because that knight might be able to attack Matthew next turn. So him not taking the damage there is really useful. Because we want to get this chest. And that combat does not look great. But that's okay. He doesn't really need health for the rest of this. The thief will go over there. So now what we want to do... Damn, I really wanted to... Actually, we can do... Okay, let me get the vulnerary from him. Because Hector having a vulnerary is really important. And then Matthew's going to want to meet the thief over there on the right. Because basically what we're going to do for the rest of it is just... like... basically steal spam that thief's lockpick, which will give us a nice little boost of experience because you get 10 every time you steal, and then will also end us with 1 additional lockpick. So yeah, these 2 vulneraries should be enough to keep him safe. Yikes. I don't know if that's entirely true. We're getting some good RNG here for sure. That qualifies a good level up, yeah. So I don't think he's gonna make you die now. Well, he's dodging everything, but hypothetically, even with because I think the archer only deals like 3 damage or something. So the biggest thing about this chapter is you want to get those 2 vulneraries onto Hector. We're getting really good RNG, so we might not need all of them, but hypothetically, having them is really important. And then, like I said, that red gem is really important. And then what we're gonna do with the thief, because basically the thief, I don't know what the thief's RNG is telling him to do, but he'll continuously steal back from Matthew. So like I said, we can give Matthew some experience, and and get the lockpick at the end of the day. Now, normally the experience aspect of it wouldn't be that important, but there's actually a very specific reason later on in the game that it's important, or at least very useful, to get Matthew um, a handful of level ups. So this is not nothing what we're doing here, for sure. But even if the experience didn't matter, again, the lockpick is really useful, so you're going to want that. So the, because he won't die because he won't to the 4, so we can do this. And see, this is what I mean about, thankfully at this point it doesn't really matter because we just can't die, I can just keep vulnering. But this is what I mean about this chapter being kind of annoying, because there are some 60 to 70s that Hector likes to get against these archers that can be, especially if things go kind of bad early on, can be really, really annoying to deal with. So, thankfully it's the first chapter, so if you need to reset, it's not the end of the world, but this is, yeah, definitely a chapter that I reset on a decent amount if I get kind of bad RNG. It's likely there's probably a safer strat. I'm not really sure what the thief does. You might even be able to let him get the red gem, and then if he still does this, you can just steal it later with Matthew. And that might be a much safer strat. But this is the one that I usually like to use because it only forces Hector to hit like a 70 on the first archer and then dodge like one of the 250s or something, which isn't like that crazy. But there might be safer strats for sure. For sure. So anyways, the reason that I've been alluding to that we want Matthew to have some experiences, not for promotion, even though you actually can promote even if I miss, I'm okay. So even though you can promote thieves in this game, which is kind of funny, Emblem has this weird thing about not being able to promote thieves or being able to promote them really uselessly. Like in this game, you can promote one of the 2 thieves you get, but it's not until you get a fell contract, which you can't get until like a very late stage in the game. It's very strange. But either way, we're not worried about that. What it's for is there's a boss later. I think his name is Aeon. He's a sage on the first Gaiden chapter, Magic Seal chapter. So right after, or right before, no, yeah, right after you land on the one continent. I can't remember the name of it. And you fight Yuhai. That boss has a silver card. Now you don't get it if you kill him, but you can steal it. And the way stealing works, see, that's really bad. The way stealing works in this game is that you need more speed than the person you're stealing from. And of course Matthew's really fast, but that boss I believe has like, I want to say it's 13 speed, I can never remember. But the point is you need to get Matthew over that speed if you want to steal that silver card. And the silver card in this game is really, really useful, as it usually is. So it's not necessary, and this is just before you get Legault, the second thief, so you can't use him. So if you can get Matthew to that certain level, it is helpful. Now, usually because he has such a high speed base and growth, you can get him there pretty consistently. Unfortunately, our Matthew did not just get speed, which is pretty rare. I don't know what his growth is, but I have to imagine it's pretty high. This is a ridiculous Hector, by the way. He's just going crazy. But we'll have plenty of time to get him more levels. There's even enemies on that chapter that you can grind on if you know you're not a high enough level with Matthew. Not that worried about it. So there's not much else to this level. Hector obviously with the wolf beal. I don't know why I'm moving Matthew. We'll be able to kill the boss pretty easily. There is an archer up there, but he doesn't drop anything, or there's really no reason to kill him. So this guy's supposed to be an assassin too? He's a knight. Is that really the best like class to be being an assassin with? Prepare to die. So Hector's a really solid character, and definitely I would say like In the grand scheme of Fire Emblem Lords, probably like fairly high up there. Like he's quite a good one. Just by proxy of having really strong attack and defense. It's like having an early knight, which you actually get in this game. He's quite strong. So yeah, Hector's very useful. The wolf feels quite strong. Matthew, who's our other character, is just kind of a thief. He's fine. So now we're gonna get a bunch of new characters. We're gonna get Oswin, who's quite a strong knight. Normally, knights in Fire Emblem games I consider to be pretty crummy, but Oswin is quite a strong character. As you can see, he already has 28 health. He's like a level 9 knight, I think. He's just really, really bulky. And I think it's one of the few knights in the Fire Emblem games that is like a decent promotable unit. You can promote him really fast, and he gives you a nice spike of stats. Trust me when I say that giving you two basically like knight characters early on is quite nice. And then we're gonna get a bunch of characters down here. Two fighters. None of them are particularly strong, but they'll be useful. They'll hit fairly hard. And then we have Lowen. I like Lowen quite a bit. He's an early cav. Lowen's actually a fairly unique cav in comparison to a lot of the other ones in the GBA games. And the reason for that is that Lowen has like... So normally cavs in Fire Emblem in the GBA games have like pretty strong offensive stats, like good like attack and speed and skill and that kind of stuff, but fairly low like bulk. Whereas Lowen is completely the opposite. He has extremely good bulk. Both his resistance and his defense are really strong, and his HP is extremely good. But offensively, he's not that strong. So he's kind of a unique cavalier in the grand scheme of things. I like him quite a bit. We'll probably use him. I use him quite a bit. Is yeah, just having that good. One of the things I'll say about this game too is that resistance is a really useful stat. It's always a good stat, of course, but it's almost more useful than defense in a lot of situations. Like there are a lot of really strong magic chapters throughout this game. And then up there we have our new healer, Sarah, a fine healer. Not much to talk about with her. Very useful crit there. Get our archer, Rebecca. Pretty standard archer. Not much to talk about with her. There's no ranger like in FE7 or in FE8. There's no like strong utility with archers like in FE6. Not a huge reason to use her. She's pretty fast, like most female archers tend to be, but and then Ellawood, who's our other lord, who is also pretty weak, just level 1 with not particularly strong stats. Ellawood, I will say, is okay. You can absolutely use him, and he'll be a reasonable unit. But usually I don't. One of the things about this game is that there's 3 lords. Of course, we're going to be using Hector quite a bit. There's actually a route split with 1 chapter that depends on your lord levels. I could maybe try to get to that. There's not a huge reason to do one or the other, but I might actually be okay with this brigand coming and attacking Matthew. And then, of course, the final unit that I haven't talked about, Marcus, who's by far the strongest character in this game. Just like he is in FE6, he is outstanding. He'll completely dominate this early game and be useful for a really solid amount of chapters in the game. So obviously we're going to be using him quite a bit. He's the Jigen of this game, or the Jagan. Marcus is unique because he's the only 2-time Jagan. 2 different games. Although I guess is Jagan in? I don't remember now. That might not be true. Don't quote me on that. There's also a certain thing you can do with Bartrey. So as I said, Bartry and Dorcas, pretty just okay units. Bartry starts with like base 3 speed, I think, which is just so ridiculously low. But if you get Bartry to promote, and then get him to a level 5 warrior, you can get a really crappy Swordmaster very late in the game. Which is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, but not particularly useful. um, so there's like some weird reasons to trade crappy characters in this game, but one of the sort of frustrating things about this game is that one of the ways that they make it harder is that they mess with deployment slots. So um, there are less, just generally speaking, less deployment slots available throughout this game than there are in most other games. And what this does is it means that the really good characters are like even better, or like maybe just as good. But the like mediocre to bad characters are pretty hard to use because you can't just have like you can't just bring like 5 kind of crappy characters and randomly train them, you know. I mean you can, but and I think the fighters tend to get kind of rolled over by this because it's just really hard to use the fight. Like it's hard to find the deployment slots for characters like them. And it's one of the reasons that even like characters like Rebecca, like it's just hard to find deployment slots for these kind of crappier characters. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's stand here because if I need to heal him, I can put Sarah above him, and then the mercenary won't be able to attack me. Oh well, it's like it didn't matter. Let's just do this. I guess I could hand axe, but so this mission is pretty straightforward. The beginning of it can be kind of a pain, um, if like multiple units get back here by Matthew and Sarah, but as long as you can avoid that, there isn't a ton to this chapter. The boss does have I think a lot of strength and a steel axe. Yeah, so he can hit pretty hard, but of course by proxy of having that steel axe, his hit is pretty atrocious. So, oh, speaking of atrocious hit, that's awkward. uh, I think we should still be okay as long as this hits. Okay. Yeah. All right, we should be fine. Ooh, speed's nice. Speed is nice. This game is it's very in the middle ground when it comes to like enemy strength between like Fire Emblem Sacred Stones and Fire Emblem 6. Like 6 is the most extreme by a lot because there are so many extra chapters, your characters are gonna get so strong. um and then Sacred Stones, even by the end you have like promoted enemies with like 10 stats across the board, you know. This game you do need strong stats, but there are really good pre-promotes, and it's not as difficult to get, I would say. And that's part of the reason that a character like Lowen is still quite strong, because you don't need those offensive stats quite as importantly. That makes sense at all. Um, so, uh, You can do some shopping on this chapter, and I might do some with the red gem I got from the last chapter. There's a shop on this chapter and a shop on the next chapter that I like to use a decent amount. Who has the red gem? It's definitely Matthew, yeah. If you get lucky enough to have a fast or a strong low end, then you're pretty kind of in the money. Um, I don't want to get him a kill. We don't have to use the shop. I would like to, but I only really need one round to do it. Let's do this. Okay, we got speed that time. That's good. Yo, what's up, Wheelie? How's it going? I can probably also take weapons off him. But once we sell the red gem, we can use the shop pretty much however we want. So what do I want? I mean, I'm gonna want to buy. Sure, just buy one of each. We can always distribute it. I bet you I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Playing some Fire Emblem, can't complain. 24%. I guess we can just do this, even if something goes wrong. We always have Sarah. How's the whole COVID situation going on? All right, well that's that's why I was scared of that. Because you never know. All right, how much do you take? 15, and you have more than one magic, right? That 2 is in fact just more than one magic. Okay, is there anything else I want? Like I said, I'm gonna want to. Where's Rebecca? I could sell next chapter. It's not that big a deal. I'm just gonna buy him an Iron Axe, and that's it. So next chapter we're going to. I believe you can buy javelins, so we're gonna be using that quite a bit. This game does not have a a shop like Fire Emblem 6 or wait, is that on hard mode? I can't remember now. Or an overworld like Sacred Stone. So you're gonna want to hoard we're gonna want to hoard the crap out of buying and selling at the shop and stuff. Is this a I'm 93% all better, just very mild. So far as coughing says sniffling. Well, that's good. Sounds a lot better, yeah. Sounds like you're getting over it. What's up, Chobo Chowder? Are you using Bartree? I did not use it much on this chapter, but we can if you want. We can try. I think I at least got him to Carla last time, but we can try using him more maybe. Old Bartree. Okay, so this chapter is actually tends to be when I was first learning this game, this was one of the more difficult ones for me because I was not particularly good at it. But the way that I like to approach this is to basically just have Marcus go south on his own, which can actually be a little bit sketchy, believe it or not. Marcus is not invincible. And the thing is, he doesn't start with a vulnerary, and I forgot to give him a vulnerary, as I always do. So it can be a little bit sketchy down there for him, but I like to have him do all of that stuff. Basically, I want to get this house. It's not actually super crucial that you get the house because it is just a mine, and unless you're trying to like mine glitch or something, there's not a huge point in it, but it is just like free money, as most items that are even kind of useless are, so you may as well pick it up. And I don't think mines sell for a particularly large amount. But yeah, I like to have everyone else go to the left. This makes it pretty safe. And basically what you want to do is... Sorry, let me just make sure I'm still streaming for a second. Okay, I am streaming. Basically what you're going to want to do is time it so that we get the house, so we can get that mine I was talking about, but then have Marcus go north as quickly as he can, because when Guy decides to start moving, we want him to aggro the left side, not the right side, so that we can recruit him with Matthew. And it might seem kind of complicated, but it's really not. Now, Guy is the new character we're going to be recruiting. He is a Myrmidon, certainly more in the Joshua camp, not the Rucker camp. He's not particularly good. This game is... I mean, 1-2 range is always busted in Fire Emblem, but this might be like the biggest sort of perpetrator of that. It's insane in this game. And of course, by being sword locked, you cannot use 1-2 range, so pretty clear why Guy isn't particularly good. He is fun to train though. We'll say that. So this is where things can get a little bit hairy because he does not have 1-2 range, so I kind of need to kill... Let me just make sure I'm not in range. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is kill this archer this turn, and then I'll get the house next turn. Fur, and then Rucker, and then Guy. Exactly, Wheelie gets it. Piano official, exactly. Exactly. And then Joshua is somewhere in there too. And Marissa's way at the bottom. Man, I wish my internet would stop. Like, I feel like every time I try to stream, I have to makes me reset once. It's annoying. Alright, let's get Bartrey some kills. So one of the things that always really annoyed me about specifically promotions in this game is that fighters to warriors, for some reason, do not get a single point of speed. They get +0 in speed when they promote. Holy crap, my Loan is so fast. I love him. I don't know why they decided to do this, because... sorry. In basically every other Fire Emblem game, warriors get some amount of speed on promotion. But for some reason in this game, they just don't. Which really hurts Bartrey, because that base 2 speed and getting none on promotion, or sorry, 3 speed, is like really bad. I've never invested in Mercer Guy. Just ended up okay for me. Yeah, Guy's fairly similar. One of the problems with this game, as I said, is like, it's not that Guy is a terrible unit, it's that like 1-2 range and having access to that is so crucial, and obviously like sword masters are not particularly good because they're slow, and there's just a lot of problems with the It's basically a class thing in this game, similar to Sacred Stones. It's just hard to find use for Guy. I remember I used him on one playthrough relatively recently, and like, you just get to this point where like, um, you're fighting wyverns and stuff, and you have like Hawkeye and Marcus, and maybe one of your calves promoted, and then like, Guy he just can't do anything. And then Marissa is pretty. Oh shoot, his inventory's full. All right, well this is useless. Looks like I don't want the mine. I'm a genius. Um, Marissa's problem is just her late recruitment. It's like ridiculously late, and her bases aren't good, and Myrmidons aren't good in that game, and so on and so forth. Usually I don't buy quite so much stuff on the previous chapter with Marcus, so getting the mine is pretty easy. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, the mine might sell for more than the iron weapons, but at this point, I would rather have the iron weapons. And again, I'm not trying to like mine glitch anything. Um, I don't think there's any reason to mine glitch, so I don't really need it. All right, let's get Marcus out of here. Want to heal guy? I mean, Matthew. I'm realness. We both have lances. All right. Where do I need to be? There. Okay. Well, we can certainly try to use Bartree. As I said, you also get access to Carla by giving him enough experience, which is pretty worthless, but you know, kind of funny. But yeah, Bartree's problem really just is his speed. It's his speed growth is. This is actually a really good indication of why growths are not like. Yeah, look, I'm already getting doubled. Of why growths are actually not particularly strong in comparison to bases. Like his speed growth, I think, is like 40% or something, which specifically for a warrior is extremely high. I mean, if he had base like 6 speed or 7 speed or something, I think he'd actually be a pretty strong unit. But it just takes him so long, even with that fairly strong base, to catch up to even someone like Dorcas, and then it's just not worth it by the end. But he still does hit hard, and at some point we'll wind up with okay speed. So I don't know if those are really reasons to train him, but I hope this hits. It's actually a little bit dangerous if it doesn't. Alright, I'm chilling. I also use, I think I've used Rebecca on my last, like, 2 or 3 playthroughs because I have such a soft spot for her, so I think I'm gonna not use her. I could actually try using Will. I never use Will. Alright, he did get speed. Again, that's really important. The biggest thing about Bartree, as I said, is because his speed is so bad, is if he can get speed on his first couple of level ups and get to the point where he's not getting doubled, he can actually just be a pretty good fighter. See, even with 4 speed now, that's still not enough to not get doubled. There's no way I'd die, though. 14. Oh shit, he actually deals 11. I actually die. Okay. Well, that's not good. Wow. And you can see just how weak Rebecca is. One of the things that I like about Rebecca is that she has a really good speed growth, which means she can actually start doubling relatively fast. And so her low strength isn't like as important as it might appear at first, but it's obviously not good. And there, despite what I said earlier, there definitely are still wyverns in this game. Like, bows aren't, again, as useful as they are in Fire Emblem 7 or 6, but there's still utility for them. Alright, let's recruit guy. Oh yeah, this is probably my favorite recruitment theme. Or it's at least up there. I really like this one. It's pretty dope. Yeah, he comes like he does have quite nice bases. Not quite Rutgers, of course, but again, it's just that lack of 1-2 range and having low mobility that just makes him struggle in this game. Preserver Iron Man, simpler element hard mode. Oh, dope. Remotely difficult. Yeah, no, that seems like a great place to start for sure. Yeah, I don't remember Element hard mode that well actually. I think it's definitely like more difficult than the regular hard mode, but honestly, I think just starting a game on just any hard mode or like just even normal mode just to get a feel for like the chapters and how they flow and like where you're losing characters and that kind of stuff is a pretty good way to go about it. Like you definitely don't have to jump into the hardest difficulty for sure. I don't remember Element hard mode because when I was a kid I was like I played that, but for me like I just loved seeing my characters dominate, so I would always just play like the easiest mode, you know? So I didn't play that one a lot until I actually wanted to play hard mode, and then I just played Hector, so... Oh, I'm not in range of... But no, that's probably a great place to start if you genuinely want to get a feel for just Iron Maning the game. Because it shouldn't be very different from hard mode. Because the thing about Fire Emblem is like if you're gonna Iron Man, even normal mode, it's very easy to lose characters on all over the place, so... It's probably a great way to get a feel for it. I remember when I found out there was like a harder difficulty when I was a kid. I was like, oh shit. And then it kicked my ass for forever. I still have a file on my like actual copy of the game that's like it's on Four Fang Defense, and I have like no promoted units and and like a level 20 Sane, but I wasn't fast enough to get the Knight's Crest on the chapter, so like he's unpromoted and oh god, it's just like a disaster. That's actually one of the other things. One of my biggest sort of wake up calls when I was learning was um like the speed at which you have to do certain things to actually get items. That's something that on like normal mode it tends to not be a problem, or at least not as big a problem. And what was a dope crit? Like for example, the chapter you get the Knight's Crest and the Hero's Crest, which is the one where you're like in Kalen. That chapter you actually have to go like once you learn it, it's not bad, but you have to actually go like fairly fast to get those items. And that was something when I first started doing it that I was really struggling with because, I would just turtle up and I wouldn't go fast at all. So I just like didn't have promoting items, which is not a great way to play the game for sure. All right, you sell my secret book, perfect. So we're gonna sell that. Secret books, of course, just give skill, so not the most useful thing in the world. I'm not the biggest fan of skill as a stat. Skill and then goddess icons I usually just insta sell. Everything else I'll usually use unless I'm really hard up for money. Ah, no speed this time. That's a very typical low level up, just HP. I love Lowen. I feel like I have like an unhealthy fascination with Lowen. It's just so rarely they give you like bulky units plus mobility. Like I don't know. I just really love it. Usually it's one or the other. So yeah, this is like I said. The thing about this chapter is, and it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to go about this chapter. I think the Marcus going south and then everyone else going to the west is like a really helpful way to play this chapter. If anyone ever struggles with it, I definitely ran around and struggled with this chapter for a while. So Wheelie, do you? So I know you mentioned that Tuesdays and Thursdays are like office days. Do you work remote the rest of the days then, or no? You said what? Oh, what did you say you did? It was something with the like NFL, something with the fields, right? I can't remember now. Let's see. How do we want to? Do you get? You don't get doubled by archers. I mean, they're so slow. Yeah. They're so slow. At some point, I'm gonna want to get one of those javelins, but we can't like super stock up on stuff this early because we don't have a convo yet. But we'll get it. I think is it the next chapter? I think it's the next chapter. Just head jab. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Enough games just by being on the roster? Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Was it like was it like what did you do for the NFL exactly? Like the other guy to my coworkers? Yeah, no, I can understand that. That makes sense. No, I wouldn't want to be in that situation either. Oh shoot, this guy doubles me, doesn't he? Oh well, we're not dead. So when Cork, I don't want to beat around. Yeah, that's always the worst for sure. Like that's the, I feel like that's always the biggest job killer when there's just like someone that you just like can't get along with or is just like the worst. Yeah. Alright, Elwood, you can keep beating the crap out of this guy. I guess if 228s hit in a row, we die, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't really want Bartry to die for no reason, so I guess I'll help him out. Well, that's good. I mean, it sounds like it was a bad situation and you got out of it, so that's good. Good for you. Sure, 1% crit. That'll never happen, right? Never, never once. Alright, Bartry, do it. Actually, let me make sure he's not, like, potentially dead. I mean, again, nobody doubles, so we should be okay. Even have a 77%. That's probably one of the highest Bartry percentages we'll see. Come on, another speed, bud. You can do it. I mean, everything but speed, kind of dope, but I would rather have that speed. Well, we'll take it. It's the Crew 6. Oh. Bunch of social gatherings. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, then, yeah. It just sounds like it was it was a bad situation. It's probably get you get out. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, like I said, that's like the best way for a job to just be like the worst. When yeah, there's just somebody you just can't stand. For sure, for sure. This guy does not move. Who's toxic by any means? It's my actual job. Oh, software. Oh shit, you're a software engineer. Goddamn. All right, that's fair. I can understand that. I think we're good. There's nothing else I want to buy. I don't think. No, that's dope. Software engineer is really cool. And yeah, obviously, if it's getting in the way of that, like that's a, I mean, that's a career. So.